Messy. She's messy.
All right. Well, hey, welcome to another great episode of Get On Code. I have a intriguing artist, and I'm saying business artist. She helps you bring, your talent, your vision into the art space where it really can flourish, using that word intentionally. So welcome to another great episode of Get On Code. All right. Welcome to Get On Code, the Fly Guy Show, which is a series of melanated conversations focused on empowerment, health, wealth, and knowledge of self.
People think in binary choices because they are conditioned to.
And on the wall was a picture of a wolf and a lion. I think the wolf was the Democratic Party, the lion was the Republicans.
But the drug trade and all these illegal stuff that people do, that's still economics. It's just that they couldn't do it in a traditional system.
We're talking about melanated wealth.
So we can build wealth, but we just, for some reason, don't seem to be able to transfer it.
You had a great experience. Fine. That means nothing.
What were you told as a child about education? You had to be how many times better?
Every impression without an expression becomes depression.
All right, and now it's time to get on code in terms of our businesses. Part of empowerment is having the resources to uplift yourself and make all the changes that you want to make and be able to uplift and make changes for other people. And that's just what our guest does today. I'll let her introduce herself very clearly. Who are you? What do you do? How do you empower folk?
Absolutely. So hi, everybody. My name is Aleya Harris. I am the founder and owner of Flourish Marketing. And at Flourish Marketing, we help empire building entrepreneurs get and keep a consistent stream of clients and build a business and life that they love.
Clans. Okay. So we got to go deeper into that. You help entrepreneurs build clans.
No, clients, not clans.
Okay.
Clients. You're like, clans? That's different. I didn't read that in your bio. No, clients.
Okay. Because I know Seth Godin back in the day had the beautiful book Tribe. That was 20 years ago. And they talked about building your tribe. And so I didn't know if the nomenclature had changed from tribes to clans.
Oh, that makes sense. But no.
All right. But okay. We're talking about clients. All right. So look, in a nutshell, what do you do and how do you empower people with helping them to develop that client base? I mean, let's go ahead.
Well, so there's three things that my company does. It's strategy, copywriting, and bioenergetic business coaching. So the strategy piece is about, you can't just say, oh, I want to market, I want a business, let me get an Instagram account. That's not how it works. You need to understand what is the problem that you solve, who do you solve it for, and how do you solve it better and differently than anybody else out there. So that's the first part that we take our clients through so that they understand that their marketing and their business structure need to be able to support them and their team as they move to the next level. Then we actually take that strategy and we put it into words, whether it's on your business website, your email, your social media, blog, all of that, so you can reach your ideal client using words that hit them in the head, the heart, or the gut. And the head means that they actually understand the words, they're clear, it's not insider language, it's not just floofy sounding good. The heart is that they have emotional resonance, they can feel what you're saying, they understand that you understand, and in their gut, it's like, oh, wait, they got me. Those words are so specific to the situation that I'm going through that I can't help but purchase from this person because they have so well articulated what I need and that I need it right now. So when you're building that strategy, then you put it into copywriting, then oftentimes people need some help finishing the rest of the business. So we do bioenergetic business coaching because you've gone to other coaches, you've done other things, and you're blocked with how to move forward. And our bioenergetic business coaching services help you remove those blocks so that you can finally get to the root of your abundance issues and move forward and make some more money.
Okay, abundance issues, wow. These are terms that I just haven't come across. So how new is this field? Is that a new field, or is that something that we just didn't know about?
Bioenergetics is not new, and I'm a NES certified health practitioner, and NES has been around for about 30 years. But the combination of bioenergetics and business is new. There's about 5,000 NES certified health practitioners, and I'm the only one that has brought it into the entrepreneurial field. So it basically takes your body's energy, the wisdom of your body and your body field, and says, hey, you're blocked here. This is where the energy isn't flowing. This is the emotional trauma that may be holding you back. This is why not only your body hurts, but you might be exhausted, you might be experiencing brain fog. And because of all of that, you're not able to articulate your message. You don't feel like you have the confidence to move forward and ask for what you are worth. You aren't able to sit down and create a strategy because you feel like you're all over the place. We fix those issues and then help you understand where specifically you are blocked so that you can move forward with a plan that works for you and your business. A lot of the times you read a business book and it sounds great, and there's lots of amazing business books out there, but then you go to implement it for yourself and you feel a little overwhelmed and lost because you're not starting at the same point that the book is starting. So bioenergetic business coaching allows you to start where you are, fix root problems that are unique to you so you can move forward with your business in your way.
Does bioenergetic, just studies in bioenergetics or the practitioner of bioenergetics, does that help us in other ways? You just described how you use it in business. How has it been traditionally used over these last 30 years?
Yeah, it's traditionally used to help those with physical and mental and emotional ailments. So as opposed to something that's biochemical means that it's your physical body, right? Your hand hurts, it's bleeding, you go get a Band-Aid. That's like your physical body. Bioenergetics actually works on this basis of quantum physics and talks about how the particles and atoms react and interreact with each other, and how intention and energy and information help shape the world that you live in and your physical body. That's why a lot of the times people will get dis-ease, cancer, hives, bloating, random things that you can't figure out how to fix, and typical doctors can't figure out how to fix. And they often have a energetic component. So you fix your body's energy field and its pathways, and then you're able to get more in a sense of homeostasis, a sense of balance, a sense of feeling right, not so foggy, not so tired, not so burdened, to not only correct, but also to prevent further disease in your life. That's the typical use for bioenergetics.
Wow. And you found a way to include that science, that art, in the business world. How successful have you been with it?
Pretty good. But it's not really about my success. It's really about my client's success, right? So I could think it's the cat's meow, but if it wasn't actually doing anything, then it wouldn't really matter. But my clients there are things like, oh, I haven't created any new content for my business in 6 months, and I'm blocked, and I feel heavy, and I feel burdened, and I don't know the direction to go. One of my clients, that was her story. And then after working with me for just really a couple of weeks, she said, oh my gosh, I created content. I've been creating content for a week and a half. I just have the energy, and I have the clarity, and I have the ability and the motivation now to move forward. So it really does help unlock the things that are getting in the way of your goals, in the way of your abundance, in the way of you leaving a legacy for your children and for future generations.
Okay. What attracted you to this field?
Well, I was doing spiritual coaching kind of like on the side. And one of the things that I was really getting fed up with was on the side. I am the antithesis of hustle culture. I think hustle culture breeds burnout, and people are then exhausted and broke hustlers. And anytime that I can seek to unify what I'm doing or to help my clients unify what they're doing, I take it, because I believe that you should be able to show up as your whole self, especially if you're an entrepreneur. If you have a job and you compartmentalize your life, well, then, it is what it is. That's your decision. But one of the benefits of being an entrepreneur is that you get to make your own lane. And as long as you find a market for it and you find people who are willing to exchange their money for your goods or services, then you can do what you want to do that supports yourself as best as you can. So that's what I decided to do. I didn't want to do stuff on the side. I didn't want to, be one person here and another person there. I just wanted to be me all the time and free up all of that energy that I was spending trying to fit in that mold. And I learned that from corporate. Like, you had to be a certain way. I was the head of marketing for a large corporate food service and facilities management company, and you had to be a certain culture. And I said, well, why am I going to do that? If I wanted to do that, I could just go get back and get a job. It would be actually a lot easier, because then when you're done, you're done. You're done, you go home. As opposed to when you're an entrepreneur, it's there, right? So I started this when I was tired, and my spiritual coach put me onto it. And I said, well, we can help other people, but I want to use it as that more tangible tool so business owners can then see on the screen and with the tools that we use how it actually helps them.
All right. And I noticed on your website, it says tap into your inner wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know to some people that sounds kind of woo, woo, woo,
I know. I'm super woo. I'm way out of the woo closet. I don't even see the door anymore.
Wow. But it worked for you.
Oh, yeah. It totally worked for me. I was exhausted, and it works for my clients too. So it would be different. It's like, oh, it worked for me, it'll work for you. It's like, well, you could have been that one case, right? Keep in mind, there are 5,000 practitioners of this. It's been around for 30 years. So bioenergetics is not something that I just kind of like pulled out of my butt. It's something that not only has worked for me, it has worked for lots of my clients and then other people too. And that inner wisdom is very powerful. A lot of times people say something's wrong with me. I don't know really what it is. Let me go on Google. Let me find the book. Let me find the podcast and the article and whatever it is. And often that outsight is important. But if you aren't marrying it with your insight and finding a way to have your body and your energy tell you more of what's going on, then you're going to constantly be looking for something and not really going inside and saying, actually, I already kind of can pinpoint what this is. And it might not even be something that you expect it to be. For example, I have another client who she kept making the decision and then taking it back, or making a strong decision and then doing the opposite. And it was like she was living in two worlds at one time. And she had come to me, not really because of that. She came to me because she wanted to be more strategic, I think was the word that she used. And we did the bioenergetics reading, and I'm sitting there like, okay, well, let's see what happens. And I just kept seeing that she was stuck in a particular area around gender expression and sexuality. And I brought it up with her, and she like burst into tears. And it was really, she was trying to decide between what her pronouns should be. Should they be, she, her? Should they be they, them? Should they be he, him? She was feeling a shift in her gender expression because she was all over the place in that area, and she hadn't been able to make a decision and feel empowered to make that decision. She wasn't empowered to make any decision. And that was affecting her cash flow. That was affecting the way that she was showing up in the world. So we're getting that into alignment, getting that more focused, and then seeing what are the decisions that she needs to make and helping to prioritize those so she can move forward in her business. So there's lots of ways that it shows up that you might not expect to be really affecting the way you make money.
Wow, that's powerful. It's interesting to me because I say within the last 5 years, for the general population. For the last 5 years, the personal pronouns have become an important piece of the culture. But I would dare say 5 years ago, it was not as important.
No, well, people weren't. It wasn't the thing for mainstream to be using them, or they didn't understand, because for a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, for people that are assigned their gender at birth and who relate to that gender at birth, they weren't understanding why you needed to know. I'm like, of course I'm he, him. Of course I'm she, her. But for people that don't necessarily agree with the gender that they were assigned at birth, and that's not how they feel on the inside, pronouns are a very empowering way of them feeling like themselves. It's not a political statement, or it's like, let's say, I'm a Black woman, but let's say that like everyone else saw a yellow woman or a red or a green woman, but I'm like, inside, I am a light-skinned Black woman. And it was like, if I could get you to see that, it would honor who I was. If you couldn't be you, how would you feel? And so us using the pronouns, whether you have them, the ones that are assigned to you at birth or not, they're a way of allowing that kind of conversation to happen, and a way of honoring and respecting how everyone else feels and is. And you don't know what type of, minute-long therapy you're doing for someone by just saying, yeah, hi, my name's Aleya Harris. My pronouns are she, her. What are yours? And allowing them that opportunity to open up. If this client had more of those opportunities, she would have probably felt more comfortable stepping out into a fuller expression of herself, and then knowing what else that might bring into the world, I think, is really powerful.
That's a very intriguing example. You have to hit me with another story. Okay, of course you can't divulge, but Aleya, tell us more about some of the stories of the people that you've helped and what things they've overcome by tapping into their inner wisdom.
Well, there's another client, and lots of clients are kind of in this boat where they're just exhausted, and like their scan comes. I had one client, her scan came back where it was like, whoa, what has happened to you? What is going on with you? You need to make changes pretty immediately before you end up getting sick. And that's one of the reasons also why I like doing bioenergetic coaching, because it allows me to talk and to speak into someone else's life even before they see physical manifestations of an illness. And that's not to say that it will always manifest into an illness, or that they're always going to go down a certain road. I don't know that, and I'm not a medical doctor, but I have seen that also be the case. So when I was working with this client, the very first recommendations I gave her had nothing to do with business. They were like, she had to go get a nanny. She had to clear her calendar. She had to tell her husband that she needed to support and have an open conversation with her. And we walked with him and we walked through what that conversation needed to be, because there was no way she was going to be able to launch her new business and feel the way she felt. She wasn't sleeping. She wasn't even drinking water, eating vegetables. Like, she had just completely lost focus and lost her center. When we were able to bring her back to center, the problems that she was dealing with became more simplified. They didn't seem so big and audacious and overwhelming. It was like, oh, well, then I can just do ABC, or, oh, I know how to move forward. I know what to do. And then, like I said, that inner wisdom that she already had was coming out, but you had to unblock it. She needed to rest. She needed to clear blockages in her relationship. She needed to forgive herself because she felt like she wasn't being a great mom, and she felt like she wasn't able to truly move forward in a way that honored all of who she was as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner. As those started to get clear and she started to let go of the guilt and let go of the shame and let go of, oh, it was supposed to, or I should this, or all of that stuff that really doesn't help you, then she could create plans and be a better leader for her team and start hitting sales goals and making the changes and connections she needed to make more money.
Taking all of this in, I'm wondering, how can this make us better parents? Better members of the community, better citizens. That I can just see so many uses of this technology that you're involved in.
That's what I said when I saw it. I was like, wait a minute. There's a whole lot more that we can be doing with this. Anytime that you're more in alignment with yourself and you're more centered and a happier individual, that creates happier, healthier, more supportive and supporting communities. When you are out of alignment, then you're not able to take care of yourself or take care of others. You're angry. You're full of resentment, and you let that manifest in the way that you interact with other people. You are hurt, and as my husband always says, hurt people hurt people. And if you are hurting, you could be causing unintentional or intentional harm that comes back then and kind of hits you in the face. And you don't ever cause harm to other people, and you just are fine at the end. It will always come back to you. So by knowing when you're out of alignment and getting more back in alignment, you're able to flourish in business and in life, which is exactly what we do.
Wow. Is this your first business?
No, this is actually my second business. I was like, is it the third? No, this is the second business. My first business was a catering company. So I was a private chef and catering company owner years ago. And then I closed that and then I kind of combined marketing and food together. And then now I just do marketing. I still work really closely with the wedding catering and events industry, but I also work with clients from all industries, pharmaceuticals and coaches and, fashion designers and hairstylists and all of the above.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you have a lot of offerings. I see a couple of services on your page. I know you have a really big Facebook community. Tell us about your Facebook community.
So we actually have two Facebook communities. One is just for the catering and events industry because it's so specific, and you can use all of your catering and events lingo in there, and it's all your peers. And then the other one is our VIP group. It's usually for people who have participated in our services. And they get in there with other entrepreneurs to work out challenges and issues. Our services, I know that it's like listed that way, but it really does just break down into strategy, copywriting, and coaching. It's the copywriting that gets broken up because people tend to come to our site to look specifically for social media or specifically for website copy or email copy.
Okay, I noticed on your website that, tap into your inner wisdom to get a clear strategy to scale your empire. I love the way that's worded. So I can see that copywriting is definitely a strength of your firm.
Oh, absolutely. That's our bread and butter, copywriting. That's what we do and love to do.
Okay. So there's a button here that says take the quiz. What happens when I take the quiz?
This particular quiz, we have a couple of quizzes. So this particular quiz on the Bioenergetic Business Coaching page will take you to this quiz that says unblock your energy and unleash your abundance. And so it talks about the the abundance keys that are typically blocked. And so it will diagnose you with most likely, it's hard to tell over a quiz without talking to you, but most likely which abundance key is blocked for you and then what to do to fix it. So
that kind of reminds me of one. That's kind of like chiropractic. Because
anytime you diagnose something and try to fix it, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. What's been the most intriguing result, quiz result? Somebody hits the website,
the results are pre-pop. So it's going to come at one of the 7. So they're based off of the chakra system. So they're not new results that they're going to get all on their own. So it's to diagnose one of the 7 areas that are most likely holding you back. So it could be anything from trust to compassion to intuition and insight, willpower, self-esteem, creativity. Those are some of the things that could be holding you back, blockages in those areas. And then what you should do about them. And some of the things to do are so simple, and there are things that you're just like, really, I should do that? I'm gonna look foolish. Like, I think one of them's like, go outside and play. Like, when was the last time you actually just did something just for the sake of doing it, rather than having a goal or an aim, or you just went out and you had a good time? Like, can you just go outside and play? Things like that, which are really helpful to people to get that energy moving and get out of the headspace they were in that was keeping them stuck and into something that was more beneficial.
How does this help people with their relationships? I know you mentioned that you have a husband. Has your husband taken the quiz?
Oh, has my husband taken the quiz? I don't think so. But I mean, he's gone through the whole bioenergetics process. So
okay.
He didn't have to take the quiz. Is like kind of like a very light version that talks about like one small aspect. So he's gone through the whole kind of reading and the diagnosis and the moving forward, and he's on the program. He's on the program.
He takes marching orders. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, again, when you know yourself, you're much better able to interact with others and keep calmer head. You look at situations as more of an observer than a participant. So if someone else is angry or someone else is getting riled up, it's not to say that you're never going to get angry, but when you're more centered, you can take a step back and instead of returning the same energy that they gave to you, you would say something like, oh, wow, I can see you're really upset about that. Tell me more about like, what is it really that is just making you super mad right now? Oh, wow. Okay, I understand. And so what would it be that would help fix this? Because I'm here for you to make sure we get through this, as opposed to yelling back. You can have a level-headed, constructive conversation with those that you're in closest relationship to, and also those that are more external to you. Again, when you are in balance and alignment, when you have the information and energy that you need to best take care of yourself, you can then take care of others more effectively.
Beautiful. Beautiful. When you're better, everything gets better.
Yeah, when you're better, everything is better.
I say that. Tell me about the free marketing tools. So we go on your site.
The quiz is on there. There's a whole bunch of, and it actually says for wedding catering event officials. That's not true. I need to change that. It used to be for that, but now it's a whole bunch of folks. Any business owner will find value. So there's 3 different quizzes on there. There's guides to download. There's a really cool website checklist on there to see, like, as I put up a website, but did I design it to help me actually make money? I don't know. Well, you could use a checklist to figure that out. This is a great one for ideal clients, so that you know what you need to be successful. And then there's also the checklist moving forward that Bob was talking about.
Ooh, I never considered that there might be a social media personality.
There are several. So you have to take the quiz and find out what yours is.
Okay, this is not like some Sasha Fierce stuff. Like on social media, I'm a beast.
About like, how are you showing up as a business owner, and how is it good and bad for your business, and what could you do moving forward to improve? That's what that one's about.
Oh, that's intriguing. I can see that working really well with political candidates as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Is your website a moneymaker?
Yeah, that's that checklist that I was talking about. That one's really popular. Yeah. And this is
learning where your website
is costing you money. I'm not offering as many free website reviews as I used to, but that is on there.
I may have to take you up on that one. That's intriguing. And then, we talked about your Facebook. And
these are just, including some of the paid offerings that you could get into there.
Beautiful. Well, it's time for a change.
Yes.
So let's kind of change the direction of the conversation. I'm really interested in helping people make intentional generational change.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some things that you're doing intentionally that are very different than the generations that preceded you?
Well, I have a lot of appreciation for the generations that preceded me, first of all, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. But I am intentionally focusing on ownership and investments. So we own apartment communities, and we also are active investors in we're active investors in the stock market. I was like, I can't think of the name. We're active investors in the stock market so that we can not just be consumers, but we can be owners. So there's a rule that we have in our household. If you're going to go buy, a Louis bag, then you have to own stock in that company. So, if we start small, the point is not necessarily to day trade, but to hold on to stocks and have them over time so that can build wealth as well as real estate. I think that we have opportunities now that maybe the generations before us had, but they were a whole lot more difficult to get our hands on. And then once we got money, we were so excited about it as people that we just spent all of it. And I mean, I like nice things too, so I'm not going to lie. Like, yes, we do spend money, but we also are active in making sure that we, are investing in Roth IRAs as well as real estate, as well as the stock market, and we diversify our portfolios so that we aren't just living, hand to mouth, and that we can break any type of those generational financial issues that our kids might have faced. There's no need for them to go into debt, and they can have an inheritance. Black children can inherit money as opposed to having to stand on the side of the freeway with a sign to get people to donate to your funeral. It doesn't need to be that narrative. We have life insurance. So if something were to happen to me, my spouse is fully taken care of and vice versa. And then when we do have kids, our kids will not only be taken care of, but our funerals, and we have death benefits, and all of those things are taken care of. And something as small as life insurance, it's like $40 or $50 a month, can be as low as that, can be the thing that breaks that cycle for you and your family. Even if you don't feel like you can buy property or invest now, you can at least make sure that poverty and lack can end with you. Another thing that we do not with our family and what we'll do with our children is financial education, the stuff that they don't teach you in school. It's like, what is investing in the stock market? What is property ownership? What does that look like? What does that mean? And how do we teach people that it's not so scary? People say, I can't invest in the stock market, I'm going to lose it all. Everyone invests in the stock market and they lose everything. Well, there's responsible ways to do that. A great educator is Chris Virgin. He's a Black man who's invested in the stock market, teaches you how to do it and do it for your kids and your family. There's lots of ways to educate yourself to remove the stigma around wealth building. Like, you can't do it, it must be hard, that's only for people that have a lot of education. None of that is true. One of my favorite things about the stock market is that it doesn't know if you're white, Black, short, tall, male, female. All it sees is green. And if you can get started for small amounts of money. You can take that $100 and opposed to buying some Jordans, buy, maybe $200 and buy some Facebook stock and let it sit there for years and see what happens. If you had bought a Coca-Cola, one share of Coca-Cola, in like the 1950s, just one share, you would be a millionaire right now. So think about what that could mean for your kids and your grandkids. Instead of the baby shower gift of whatever it is on their Target registry, think about giving shares in stock. Think about giving a trust, money in a trust. Think about putting money in an IRA and bequeathing that. There are different ways that you can do money differently and teach people how to do money differently in your community so that we are builders and not just consumers. I'm really all about empire building in every way, shape, and form.
Wow. So one last follow-up question. How has your intentionality changed your parents and the elders in your family? How has that impacted them?
Well, it's taught them that other things were possible, not so scary. There's a lot of fear around, ooh, can I put my money here, or should I invest here? Should I do that? Everyone's told me that the only way to go about it is to put money in my 401k. And if I take any money out of my 401k, I'm going to be broke in my retirement. And it's setting them up like with financial advisors, allowing them to understand what else is possible. And of course, don't say, blow your 401k money, take it all out and let's go buy a house together. That's not what it's about, but it is about showing them little by little that there's other ways to make and invest money that actually can have a higher return than what they were thinking. They can be more comfortable than what they thought was possible if they would allow a little bit of freedom and wiggle room to do things that is just a little different.
Intriguing. Well, it looks like to me that you're a blessing both to those in the business world and to those who kind of raised you. So that's great to see. Last thing, give us your 30-second elevator pitch, and we'll close with that.
Awesome. Well, I feel like we've done a lot of that already. But again, if you're looking to clarify your message, have that clear message help you get and keep a consistent stream of clients and battle and beat that burnout monster so that you can flourish in business and life, then we would love to help you. Go ahead and visit www.flourishmarketing.co, not .com, .co, and be sure to click schedule a call if you'd like for us to work together. I would love to talk to you.
This show was brought to you by Positive Vibes Incorporated, our consulting services. We do credit fixes. We do tax resolutions. We lend private money and debt consolidation. So if you need some of these services, we're waiting here for you. Credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, and debt consolidation. Make sure you call Positive Vibes Incorporated.